The same old story. It's like stale bread. Do you want to be sharing the same story every year? Yeah, work's going good, but I can't stand this one girl or this guy or whatever it is. Or, oh man, my life is so bad, It's just, man, it's so difficult. I deal with so many things and, oh, pity me. Come on, man, pull your life together. And this goes for women as well, not just men. You got to pull your life together. You got to change that story. If it's the same old story every single day, come on, you're going to live your whole life like that? You can't do that. You got to change it up. You got to have something interesting, some flavor, some zest. You got to attack life with some type of plan, Take on a marathon. Do something spontaneous. There's a rule from Jesse Itzler. It's called Kevin's Rule. Every 6 weeks, you got to do something that's out of the normal, right? Something that you wouldn't have done elsewise. Go camping, even if you hate camping. So what? It makes for a good story, right? A life well lived is one that is full of good stories to share. Because when you're 80 years old, you're going to need good stories to share. That's the only value that you have when you're 80 is a life of fun experiences. You want to prove to your grandchildren that your life was worth living, that you lived a life that they should be proud of, right? It's not that you're trying to make them proud of it, but you would want for yourself that your grandchildren would be proud of you, and then live in accordance with that belief right now, right? You have that power within you to make your life interesting, to set up a series of actions, and it starts with redefining who you are. You can rewrite the story of who you are. Most people don't even have a clue of their story. They haven't even figured out, taken the time to write down, who am I? Well, like, what is the narrative of who I am? And on top of that, where do I want to go? Right? No one does that. This is insane that no one does this. This needs to be the first thing that we do when we get into middle school, first thing they do when we get into high school, first thing that we do when we start college, is to create a plan for our life. We learn all this information. We go through the day-to-day, all the menial exercises and things that we do, habits and drinking coffee and going to coffee shops, talking chat. Like, there's never 15 minutes spent on a plan. We're just moving through life without a plan, without an idea of what exactly we're going for. Every day has its responsibilities, and then over time we realize, what did I do? What happened this past month? The most important thing in your daily routine should be your purpose in life. It should be like, how does this day serve my purpose in life? How am I going to move forward on this plan for myself, having lived this day? You got to treat yourself as if you have short-term memory loss, because you do. There's too many things going on in this world, and it's so difficult to remember the purpose, even if you take the time, which most people don't. Most people stumble and wander and get up to mischief and wondrous. I don't know, I'm trying to come up with a series of funny words. If you take the time to write down your plan, it's very difficult to actually remember it, right? Because there's so many things that we have to remember. I see this in my own life. I'm like, oh man, like making these videos, I'm like, oh yeah, if I had to pull my life together today, I would do this, that, and the other. It's like, my life would be great. And then 2 days later, it's like, what did I say? Like, I didn't even remember this video. I just watched back a video and I'm like, holy cow, like, I didn't even remember that I said that. In order to set up my life, I gotta create the podcast backdrop. That way I can start recording podcast episodes. And then that should be a priority of mine. It's like, if I figured out, like, this is one of the things that I can do to really pull my life together. That's not even, it wasn't on the front of my mind at all today. It didn't even cross my mind until I watched the video back and I was like, oh my gosh, I haven't even thought about that. Treat yourself as if you have short-term memory loss. Live your life that way. And then realize that you have the ability to redefine your story all the time. I've had several different looks in the past week. I had the full beard, right? And then I clean shaved it trimmed it. Then after that, I had the chops and I ran the marathon with that. And then I shaved the chops and I now have this mustache. In about 3 or 4 days, I'm going to shave this again, be clean shaven, right? and then I'll grow it out, and like I'm always constantly evolving. It's not the same old story with me. It changes. And people take note. People see that, you know? Not that my goal is to be noticed by people. That's not my goal. I'm living my life. This is the story of Wyatt Moss. He's always changing. He's always doing something. You know, always up to something, right? But that's great. Like that's what I want the story of Wyatt Moss to be. I want it to be like, man, what are you up to nowadays? Like, you're always doing something crazy. What story do you have to tell? You know, I want people to be excited to see me again, right? The conversation that we have excites them to go out and do something like, yeah, this is awesome. I really should be doing that. Or, yeah, I'm going to go do that today. You know, isn't that a good life to live? Don't you want that for yourself? To be a positive influence in the lives of those around you. That the time that you spend with people actually means something. You actually matter to someone. You know, can you imagine that? We live our whole lives seeking approval from others. We don't do the actions necessary of the positive approval. We do the things that we think other people want us to do, right? I'm not saying that in these videos that you should never go to college, right? But if you're going to college just to get a degree, just to please your parents, that's the worst thing you could do with your life. Absolute worst thing you could do. They're not living your life. When they die, do you want to have wasted 40 years of your life serving their dream or living up to what you had in mind, right? It's wild. Yeah, I don't know. I think it's crazy. You got to really sit down and take time right now because time will fly. There will always be things that have to get done. There will always be responsibilities, and they'll stack up quick. I got to pay this bill, and like I got to go back to work tomorrow. And I don't know. I just don't even want to think about it tonight. You know, I don't want to think about it. Just I'm gonna go downstairs. I'm gonna tune out, and I'm just not gonna think about it. Yeah, you can do that once, and if you allow yourself to do that once, the rest of your life will just evaporate in seconds. If you allow yourself just to, I don't want to think about this. And then that's who you are. It's just a slippery slope. And then you go down this bad path of never taking the time to fully understand who you are, never taking the time to understand who you want to be, taking the time to understand what actions would be required of you to move towards that, how you can even start today, never breaking down this vision that you have for yourself into smaller pieces. This is wild. Ready? Most people come up with a vision for themselves without the intention of ever achieving it. They don't know that, but they're like, it would be cool to kind of do this, that, and the other, Yeah, it'd be cool though. I could never do that. That would never be me. I don't know. It's just insane. Like if you come up with a vision for yourself, the goal should always be like, you know what? I think this is achievable. I'm gonna go out and try to do it. It shouldn't be like, yeah, that's a great vision. All right, I'm gonna carry on with my life as is. It's supposed to move you. It's supposed to literally move you emotionally, move you physically towards something better. Most people develop a vision for their lives. How about this? Very few people ever develop a vision for their life. And the ones who do, very few actually follow through on that vision. No one ever believes that they can actually achieve something for themselves in this life. Like if you take the time to come up with that vision, you got to have that confidence. You know what? I do have what it takes to make this a reality. Because why not? Who else is going to do it? The fun part about being the one guy making videos on a consistent basis about my daily thoughts on here. No one else is doing this. Just me, right? It's just awesome to know. So then if you come up with a vision for your life and you actually start moving towards it, imagine how much higher you can aim, because opportunity will be available to you because you're the only one who's doing it. No one else is out there coming up with a vision and actually moving towards it. And even if they are, it's pretty low, right? That's why you're supposed to aim for the stars, and then you'll land on the moon. But you never know, because you could land on the stars, right? You have no idea. You have to aim for the highest possible good at all times, because you never know. You could stumble into success. If you're aiming for success in a certain field, then that's what you're going to get. So if you aim for a small amount of success relative to everything that exists out there, especially early on in your life when you're like 20, you'll get that. Odds are you will achieve that amount of success. I want to retire by 40 years old. I want to be able to, to live off of an investment account and just a frugal lifestyle and never have to work again, right? If that's what you want, that's great, okay? I don't want to waste away for 60 years. That's not a popular opinion. But from 40 years old until the end of my life, I want to be able to build my children up, be productive in the world every second of every day for the rest of my life. Right now, I feel like I'm at not even 1% of what I'm capable of. I'm doing a lot, a decent amount. But imagine how great your life could be. I ran 10 miles today, right? And I still don't think that I'm running at 1% of my potential. Let that sink in, I'm just upset that I'm not requiring that of myself. I'm making these videos more for me than I am for you. So everything I've just said, I could care less if anyone watches this video because it's for me. I have the intention of making this dream a reality. I do. Will I take the actions or the steps towards that goal? Will I break it down into steps? Have I even figured out what I could do tomorrow? Do I have a plan for what I'm going to wake up to in the morning? What's going to be the first thought in my head tomorrow morning? Because if it's not this dream, something else is going to take the string and run with it. And then by the end of the day, it'll be unraveled and there'll be nothing left. And that's how every day is going to go unless I make a change. We have to make a change. If you're still watching this video, then you want it, right? You're not going to be watching this video if you don't want it, if you don't feel something. So if you're at this point in the video, what's going to be the breaking point? When are you going to figure out the vision for your life, break it down to pieces, and move towards it? I've got somewhat of a vision. I've broken it down into pieces. Now I need to figure out, get good at what can I do every single day to move towards that, right? Because I have the confidence that I'm going to achieve this vision for my life. I have that. I know that I'm capable of it. Now I got to ask myself, well, will you in 20 years have taken the necessary steps to actually make the dream a reality? Or will that time have been wasted on menial tasks that are insignificant in the grand scheme of things? What are the things that actually matter to me? I'm going to do those things today because I know that it moves me towards this goal that I have for myself, and in turn allows me to live a great life. And I know that I'm probably one of the only people out there who's going to be able to do something like this, because very few people, including you, are actually going to follow through on the vision that they create for themselves. It's usually just a dream, right? That's why I call it a vision. Maybe I need to start changing that in my vocabulary, because words have power, right? I don't know. Kind of rambling, but kind of not. So hopefully that was valuable. Why not us?